federal judge has rejected a bid to throw out the sexual assault lawsuit against Britain's Prince Andrew over jurisdictional grounds. The prince's lawyers are due in court for a major hearing tomorrow. That hearing comes after a jury found Jeffrey Epstein's longtime partner, Ghislaine Maxwell, guilty on 5 of 6 counts in sex trafficking. ABC's Ariel Reshef has the latest.
This morning, Prince Andrew facing a setback in a civil suit filed against him in a New York court. A federal judge refusing to halt the case on the grounds that his accuser, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, does not live in the United States. But the royal will still be able to argue that point in the future.
This is a very technical argument that they raised regarding jurisdiction, and this was a setback for them. The term of art is without prejudice, which means the defense theoretically can bring that motion again.
Giuffre's attorneys say she currently lives in Australia, but intends to return to Colorado, where her mother resides and where she is registered to vote. Now 38, Giuffre claims she was trafficked for sex by Jeffrey Epstein and accuses Prince Andrew of having sex with her on several occasions and in multiple locations, including New York, starting when she was 17. Claims he has vehemently denied.
I've said consistently and frequently that we never had any sort of sexual contact.
Andrew has attacked Giuffre, calling her lawsuit baseless, meant to achieve another payday. Focus shifting to Prince Andrew after the sex trafficking conviction of his longtime friend Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell, who was found guilty last week of 5 federal counts, introduced the Queen's son to disgraced multimillionaire and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. In an interview with the BBC, the prince previously acknowledging he saw Epstein several times over the years and stayed at his home in New York City, even after Epstein had been convicted of sex crimes.
It was a convenient place to stay. With the benefit of all the hindsight that one could have, it was definitely the wrong thing to do.
A jury has returned a guilty verdict, so there's no more presumption of innocence. Now this has been proven in court, not specifically against him, but that these women were in fact abused by Jeffrey Epstein and by Ms. Maxwell.
And as for what comes next, a hearing on Prince Andrew's motion to dismiss this civil suit will happen tomorrow. Kira?
All right, Ariel Reshef, thank you so much. Let's continue the conversation about Ghislaine Maxwell as our senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky has been covering this case from the very beginning. Aaron, good to see you. Let's talk about just the legal setback and what it means for Prince Andrew and this upcoming hearing.
Well, it's a small setback, Kira, I think, because what Prince Andrew was trying to do is to say that his accuser, Virginia Giuffre, does not have legal standing to bring this federal lawsuit here in New York because she lives overseas. She lives in Australia. And he wanted to conduct further inquiry about her residence to see exactly where she lives, what her intentions are. And he wanted to really slow down the case, I think, by talking about this jurisdictional matter. In the end, the judge isn't going to let him do it, at least not yet. But he did leave open the possibility that at a future time, the prince can talk a little bit about these jurisdictional issues and see whether Virginia Roberts does have the legal standing to sue in New York federal court.
Well, in addition to that, how significant do you think is Maxwell's guilty verdict to this case?
You know, I don't think it has a whole lot of impact, truth be told. Ghislaine Maxwell was a whole separate thing involving criminal charges. The jury verdict does, I think, indicate that they believed a conspiracy did occur involving Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. But that really wasn't the issue in Virginia Giuffre's lawsuit against Prince Andrew. She is alleging that she was a victim of Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking and made to have sex with Prince Andrew on several occasions, beginning when she was 17 years old. And so this is really her allegation against him. And it all began when New York opened a window to eliminate the statute of limitations for alleged victims of childhood sexual abuse to sue the person that they accuse. And once that window opened, that's when Virginia Giuffre moved in. And Prince Andrew has been trying to dismiss this lawsuit, and there'll be a hearing about that coming up tomorrow here in New York.
And as he continues to deny these claims, Aaron, what's the royal family saying about the case?
You know, the royal family doesn't want to talk about this too much, Kira, and they've tried to really sideline Prince Andrew. he's been doing the talking through his attorneys, and his attorneys have attacked Virginia Giuffre. They've said that she is just out for money. They say she has a history of filing frivolous lawsuits, and they say this one, too, is baseless. They've also said something rather incendiary, and that is that of anybody, it's Virginia Giuffre who was the one that was arranging to traffic women for Jeffrey Epstein to abuse. Had nothing to do with Prince Andrew. And we know that he, most recently in a BBC interview, has denied even really knowing Virginia Giuffre, let alone having any kind of a sexual relationship.
So what do you think? Could we see more allegations, other lawsuits filed? I mean, where does the Jeffrey Epstein investigation go from here?
I think that more lawsuits is exactly what's in the offing, because a number of women are still trying to get what they consider to be justice after Epstein abused them, they say, in many cases for years. He was never able to stand trial on the federal charges that he was accused of here in New York because he died by suicide in jail. Ghislaine Maxwell was seen as something of a proxy, but there are others that the women have talked about who they say were involved. And so these civil lawsuits could play out for years. We don't think, however, Kira, there are any other criminal charges in the offing. It seems as if once Epstein died, the federal prosecutors here in New York believed that Ghislaine Maxwell was his main aide in all of this. And once she was convicted, I think federal prosecutors are done with criminal charges, at least for the moment. The next step in that case will be sentencing, and we're still waiting for a sentencing date to be set.
All right, we'll follow it, and I know you will too. Senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky, thanks for being with us, Aaron.
Thank you, Kira.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.